Hey y'all, it's Andy here, and I have decided to make the spring zodiac shift readings entirely free this season. I don't want there to be any paywall between us when the astrology is so wild this spring. So the shift readings for all zodiac signs for the spring season will be posted in their entirety here on YouTube and on my website, unseenhintstarot.com. You can access them either place. Now, these readings are meant to carry you through the entire spring season. So it's one reading for the whole spring. It drops at the spring equinox. I recommend watching it at the beginning of the season so you can kind of get an idea of the themes that might be showing up for your sun, moon, rising, perfection sign, Venus, maybe, since Venus is going retrograde, whatever you're tracking in your own astrology chart this season. Find the corresponding reading, watch it at the beginning of the season to get a little preview as to what your spring shift might be. And then midway through the season, maybe around April, check back in with the reading, rewatch it, because you'll be able to bring your lived experience of the actual spring, however it's playing out in your life, to that reading, and I guarantee it's going to hit different. And then at the end of the season, you'll look back and watch the readings one more time to connect the dots as to how you have actually shifted throughout the season and get that beautiful hindsight magic. It really is the best part. Okay. So happy spring. It is my gift to you, and enjoy the shifts. Hey Scorpio, this is going to be your spring 2025 shape shift reading, where we look at the shape you're shifting out of, the shape you're shifting into, and what that shape shift looks and feels like for the spring season. I'm joined today by the Queer Tarot. I'm also going to use the slow Holler Tarot to clarify, and then we'll get into it with the Poesis Oracle. So let's look at the shape shift for Scorpio this spring. Okay. What shape is Scorpio shifting out of this spring? Show us the shape you're shifting out of. Okay, great. Shifting out of the Seven of Cups. So the Seven of Cups is a card of maybe just being overwhelmed by too many options, or just having all of like the fantasy of the multitude of possibilities just sort of swirling in the atmosphere in your psyche, in your life. Nothing's really grounded or landed or like specifically chosen. It's all just sort of present. Okay, so shifting out of that into what? What is the shape Scorpio is shifting into this spring? Wow, into the Chariot. Okay, like finally moving forward. So out of this, and this may coincide with Neptune, because to me this is such a Neptunian card of like dreams, fantasies, illusions, delusions, possibilities, but none of them are very concrete or they haven't necessarily become real. It's largely an experience that is imaginal and emotional and maybe theoretical, which is much more of like that Neptunian dream space. This season, Neptune is making a big shift from Pisces into Aries, and Neptune only changes signs every 14-ish years. So this is sort of like a big end of a collective era. And for you personally, Scorpio, that might feel like things are finally moving into action rather than staying in the dream space. The Chariot is just ready to move forward, ready to look at what comes next. I like that there's this just sort of like contentment in this person's face. And it's almost like the rainbow has sort of, it's been this ride that now has momentum and is ready to carry them forward. It just looks much more directional and specific, whereas this overwhelming dreamscape is much less grounded. Okay, that's lovely. Moving, finally, things are moving. All right, what does that look and feel like for Scorpio this spring? I mean, that is kind of what happens in the spring. The transition from winter to spring in the Northern Hemisphere is like, we go from that winter dormancy where actually we have a lot of space to dream and be in that sort of realm of the imagination. And then things actually get going with the new life energy of the spring. You got the Five of Wands, which is just reminding me of so many planets shifting into Aries this spring, and why the astrology of this spring is so powerful and so maybe like unusually powerful. We have a Venus and Mercury retrograde starting in Aries and going back into Pisces, like that. The transition from Pisces to Aries in the zodiac is so stark. It's the transition from the end into the beginning, the first sign of the zodiac, the start of it all. And we have these planets just like going back and forth over that, between those two signs, basically all year long. Even the big outer planets, Neptune shifting into Aries and then Saturn shifting into Aries. We're gonna have all of these planets in Aries, and then at some point in the fall, they will kind of go back over that line again. So there is this like, this year is this strange transition, just like toggling back and forth, straddling a new era for us collectively. And I'm seeing that in your cards. Let's actually look at this together. Okay. So the shape shift from this dreaming, imagining, wondering, space of considering the emotional possibilities, the shift into like decisive and direct forward movement and like a real palpable sense in a larger scheme that your life is really moving forward, is happening through like a little bit of chaos with the Five of Wands. We have a lot of people here and like a lot of cooks in the kitchen. Everybody's got opinions, ideas, ways of thinking and acting and moving forward, and nothing is really clear. They're all just kind of, it's unclear whether they're like fighting or playing or what their relationship is, other than it's a chaotic moment and a chaotic space. So the transition into clarity, decisive action, clear forward motion is a little chaotic and a little, I'm just seeing it as like kinks needing to be worked out, and not everything is just an easy flow and transition. But I like that if we track the journey of this like flowing rainbow, it starts in the Seven of Cups with it being on this person's shirt. So it's more of something that they're like trying on. They're trying on the idea of their life finally moving forward, but it's still in the imaginal realm. It's just like an idea that they're working with, something that they are fantasizing about. And then the process of actually doing it in the Five of Wands is a little chaotic, a little messy, a little confusing. It's not perfect, Scorpio. It's a little rocky, and like, I just see it as all elbows. You're all elbows in that process, and it's not going to look pretty. It's not going to be perfect, but it is that like that rainbow above the chaos of the Five of Wands is starting to flow and starting to flow you forward, help you transition to the Chariot, which then by that point, the rainbow is very clear. Its path has sort of straightened out. And it seems to be like a very sort of sense of peace and calm and trust in the direction that your life is going in now. Because look how relaxed those dogs are. Like, and how relaxed this person is in their own body and in their own being, and looking ahead at where that rainbow is directing them. They're like, yeah, I got this. I'm excited. I'm ready for this forward movement in my life. So essentially, Scorpio, you're moving out of like emotional, spiritual, and just like the energetic chaos of the transition from winter into spring. It is a little chaotic because like suddenly the weather is all over the place. It's really warm and then it's cold again, and that constant sort of back and forth. There may also just be something going on in your life that is a chaotic transition. People, I just keep seeing the back and forth over the Aries and Pisces signs. And so there's like this, it's this bridge. It's this like back and forth over the bridge, back and forth over the bridge. In, I don't know, something coming in and out, something sort of like making many trips. I don't know what that is. But it's a little chaotic before you finally get your like clear forward facing piece of like, phew, okay, that's over. And I like the direction that I'm heading in now. All elbows is that's a really funny image. Okay. I like that the Chariot's here too, Scorpio, because it's Cancer energy. Mars is finally going to transition out of Cancer this spring, and it's been retrograde in Cancer for most of the winter season, and that's probably also just felt a little bit like this at times. Mars energy, depending on your chart, can be pretty sharp, pretty harsh. It can bring that like chaotic, like just angst energy that like you want to move, but you feel like you can't. You know, that's also the Five of Wands energy, is this experience of like, I want to move, but I like can't really move, and I don't really know where I want to go, but I have all this energy and I have nothing to do with it, and there's no clear like decisive action to take. There's no like way for me to direct my Mars energy. And I think with everything finally transition, like all these planets moving into Aries, which is Mars sign, and then Mars finally transitioning out of its fallen Cancer, I think it will feel like, okay, phew, I finally have this way to apply my energy so that it's not like locked in this sort of chaotic mystery space, but is actually quite clear and like, okay, phew, I can move again. Maybe you're just also moving your body again. Okay. Love this for you, Scorpio. Let's get into it and see what this is all about. We'll start with the Seven of Cups and this sort of floaty dream space of like imagining the possibilities of what could happen when your life finally starts moving forward. So let's see what that is. What is the Seven of Cups for Scorpio? Why is that the shape you're shifting out of? Yeah, the Magician. Who will I be then? What will I create next? The Magician uses all of its resources to like make something happen, to make the magic happen. And when it's been coming out in these readings, I've been seeing it as sort of slowly coming out of hiding, or like slowly revealing yourself in this new way. So there's this sort of slow reveal. Okay, I kind of like that. The slow reveal of the magic of what your life can be now that something is finally moving on or moving forward. And maybe this time of dreaming has been, and maybe it actually has been as long as like the last 14 years for some of y'all, like that Neptune cycle. Maybe that's been this slow understanding of your magic, because Neptune in Pisces will do that. The agenda there is one of like spirituality and like spiritual development and development of your dreams and of the ideal of what your life could be, which is of course there are many ideals. There are many possible ideals for what you want your life to be. And maybe like the process of being able to dream in that way, in that process you've discovered, and in like entertaining many possibilities, maybe your particular talents, skills, magic has been slowly revealed to you through that dreaming process. And like, oh, okay, I just got the image of one cup appearing at a time. So maybe that's part of the slow reveal, is it has taken you a while, Scorpio, to be able to imagine other possibilities because your life was like a certain way for some time. It's taken a while for like those little cups, different options, different ideas to start to pop into your, the space where you can dream and you can fantasize about your life. And now they've accumulated so much that you could be like feeling almost overwhelmed and angsty about it. Like, okay, I need to pick one. Like, I need to go in a direction. I just need to do something now. That it has taken this long for me to finally like be able to think outside my own box and like allow other possibilities to come to me and allow other ideas to be true for my life. Okay. But really it's like, what do I want to create? Okay, 3 of Knives just fell out. 3 of Swords. Okay, so there may have been some like past hurt and pain that has been clearing out. Some like grief, really, really deep and maybe old grief that's been hanging around that needed to clear out in this slow reveal process for you, because I'm seeing the smoke that's coming from the smudging process that's going on, that's like clearing out that old energy and that like sadness and that pain or that grief, as the smoke that is also carrying all of these new cups and possibilities. And it's like, as each part of you healed, a new cup was revealed. You know, a new possibility was able to open up every time some attachment to a past idea was released. Because the creation space, thinking about the Magician as the creator of your life, the Magician wants to reveal what's next. Is really about thinking forward. It's not as much about thinking in the past. So if there's this like past ache that's just like still present, it's part of what holds the Magician back from being able to fully think forward and act forward, move forward into the future. So just, there's been some healing. There's been this like time of healing that has needed to happen, Scorpio, to let go of the past and let go of the pain from the past. Yeah, maybe you've been in this again. Like, I do see this as a much more solo space. Strength card. Having to kind of be in your own interior. Because we see this person in a cave. And you're just like, okay, well, I'm just going to set up camp in here. and I'm gonna go ahead and make a fire to keep warm. And it's like, I just see you like dreaming by the fire at night, and that fire also bringing the cleansing smoke to kind of burn away the pain from the past, but also bringing like the smoke that in which you can envision and get the visions of the future. But it also may just indicate that you've had to sort of endure through this period where nothing was moving and a lot of emotional stuff was healing, so that new possibilities could enter your atmosphere. And you may have just had to sort of like camp out and wait. I just see this person like waiting out that night. And it may have felt rather long, because I just keep seeing it as this slow reveal. So you've just been sort of like hunkered down, waiting for this to pass, waiting for something to start moving again. And then we do get into this space where things are moving. That's the thing with the Five of Wands. It might be all elbows. It might be a little chaotic, but it is moving, you know, like the rainbow is very clearly flowing. The energy is getting going, but it's like, I see it as like when you're starting an old engine that hasn't been run in some time, there's like a putter, there's like a, and then you gotta like pop the hood, get in there, tinker around, shut it, get back in, try again. Ugh, okay, get out. You know, so there's that in and out and back and forth energy again. That's interesting. Starts and stops. Sorry, this phrase keeps coming to me that I've never heard of, that is fits and shits. Starts and stops. Starts and stops. Fits and shits. Like, what? But it is. It's like a little tantrum. It is a little bit of a tantrum energy through this transition with the I've never seen the Five of Wands as a tantrum, but I kind of love it. Okay. That's fine. Maybe part of it is that like you've been in this sort of in the magic of your own like hidey hole, imagination dreaming space for so long that coming out in the world feels a little, you know, like a little, oh God, this is hard. This feels hard. Okay, let's look at the Five of Wands. Let's understand why the Five of Wands is here for Scorpio. Okay, yeah, exactly. Nine of Stones. It's showing me like being on your own again. The goat just climbed up this mountain. Sort of clambered up to the top with its grapes. There's this sense of like personal achievement that is really palpable in this card. Capricorn energy might be here, might be important for that. Again, it's like a messy climb. It's not like achieving those personal goals at this time of like movement and moving forward and feeling like you're actually able to accomplish and achieve something, or like do what you set out to do. It's not necessarily a linear process. You might be climbing that little pile of stones all elbows and slipping and falling and trying to clamber up again and doing all that, but you will reach the top. Like you'll get there, you know? And maybe the point is that like you get to feel yourself moving again and feel the potential of not just the potential of what could happen, but the actual achievement of it. Because now we're in the stones, the earth, the palpable physical realm, like, oh wait, I actually was able to do what I've been imagining for so long. And that is pretty cool, actually. So even if the process of it isn't perfect, Five of Wands, like, that's okay. And because maybe everybody's going through a little bit of chaos right now, because we see this group of people, you know, like, it's not just you feeling like a little bit of a hot mess. That's okay. Okay, tell me more about the Five of Wands for Scorpio. All elbows. Everybody is getting this damn card. Awakening. It's the Judgment energy. It is the big reveal. It is the revelation. The, in some sense, it's apocalyptic in this way of like a major, like, again, it's this end of an era. You're on this, the bridge of no return, you know, like you're crossing this bridge of your life. And moving forward in a really big way, and awakening is part of that process, like waking up to where you have been and why you have been there, and like really opening all of your eyes, the full sight, to be able to see like what's going on. It's like there's a lot of revelations this spring, which is what happens when planets retro, like Venus especially, when they go retrograde. Even Mercury, we get that so many times a year, but it does give us many revelations along the way that it takes us through a process of revision that can be a little bit chaotic. It can be a little confusing, but out of that will come some sort of like very clear awakening, revelation, like thing that you needed to see from that higher vantage point, even if it was pretty messy trying to get up there in the process of it. It might be messy in the process, but the revelation at the top, the view at the top, it gives you that awakening that you've needed to be able to, okay, see what you needed to see, and that gets you going somehow, that gets things moving. And again, because this is a major arcana, that might be more of a collective awakening as well, that is impacting you personally in some way. And maybe part of the awakening is like awakening to your own independence, awakening to your own, like the ways in which you are ready to support yourself, or the ways that you can be supported, like the things that you're ready to do in the world that you want to accomplish. Anything else for the Five of Wands for Scorpio? Yeah, it is a little bit of a delicate balance climbing up these stones and trying to maintain your footing. Two of Stones here. You know, like it is a delicate balance, and even something as light as the butterfly can tip those scales, and then you fall, and then you got to start climbing again, you know? So it is this, I think it's a lot to hold. It might be a lot to hold. The delicate balance, this like navigating this sort of chaotic spring season with the retrogrades, with the eclipses. It's some of the most chaotic astrology of the year in March. And so this makes sense that like this is something that we are all having to navigate. It also makes sense that it's bringing some major awakenings in the chaos, through the chaos. Okay, so you might just be trying to keep your balance through the chaos of the Five of Wands, through the spring season, but trust that it's going to bring some real awakenings, and like pay attention, you know, like pay attention to what is awakening, what is being revealed through that chaotic process of trying to hold it all, trying to juggle it all, trying to sort of maintain the delicate balance of this transition, this bridge space. Because now, okay, we're going into the Chariot, which is a much clearer path forward and a lot of momentum behind it. So show me more about the Chariot for Scorpio. Ugh, gorgeous 10 of Pentacles. A beautiful, like solid, stable archway in a home space with the keystone. You know, like we love to see this stable structure of the 10 of Stones, which is actually this lovely linear 9 to the 10 that just shows the fruits of your labor, reaping the benefits of this accomplishment. It also could just literally be like being in your own space. and that feeling like this fresh stability, especially as Mars leaves whatever your Cancer house is and whatever your Cancer planets are there. A refreshing energy in your home space when you finally got that like nasty Mars energy out of your house, out of that Cancer house in your chart. Like that's finally out, and there is very hopeful momentum to move forward with a lot more stability. 10 of Pentacles. Lovely. Okay, tell me more about this forward movement in the Chariot for Scorpio this spring. And the Chariot's a major arcana, so this is like your life in general. This is a much larger, there's a large scale kind of like endurance that you've had. You've had to sort of endure through this period where you've been waiting to create all of the things in your imagination and the things that you want to create, but for some reason you've had to kind of wait and go through this like difficult, maybe emotional period where there's been a lot to clear out and heal and whatever, and that's taken a really long time. And now you're transitioning through some sort of like major awakening process in your life and ending up, I'm just showing the majors because this is sort of describing the like life phase that you're in, and you're ending up with forward motion. Finally, forward motion, and it just looks so good. It feels so good. So what came out? Okay, 9 of Swords reversed. Yeah, it's like you're just finally releasing some stress, worry, anxiety that has just really stuck with you. It has really been sticking with you, and again, like this feels like that nasty Mars energy that was in your Cancer space, whatever space that is in your chart, or it could literally be talking about your home space because Cancer is so much about the home. There's the word mountains is here in the card in the background of the collage. It's been, you know, it's been sort of a tough climb. It's been a rocky climb. It's been a bit difficult. And then, you know, it's been stressful. Maybe the transition 5 of Wands is stressful, but for some reason I've never really cared about this, but I'm pretty drawn to this figure here. You know, they look okay. Naked, you know, the red streak is behind them and they're like, okay, that was hard. That really messed my skull up. You know, like really messed with my mind, that time period, but okay, I'm gonna clean the house. I'm gonna get this like physical reset in my space. Maybe that's your body. Maybe that is your actual home space. Again, like all of these vessels, these spaces that we inhabit, something is like, this is you clearing the chaos out. from the winter retrograde, or possibly like from way, way, way further back. But because I see like after cleaning up after a party, see that? Everybody's in the other room and you're like, okay, phew, I need to clean this space up. That was stressful. I need to empty out these knives. I need to put them in the dishwasher. I need to get them out of my head, right? I need to get that out of my head. That was confusing. I was confused for a really long time. And getting that confusion out was so chaotic and so weird. But I've got the awakening. Like I've seen what I needed to see there. And I was just holding it all together. And now I am letting that shit go. Because it's time to move forward and clean house and clean space. Clear the slate. Okay, tell me more about the Chariot for Scorpio. Yeah. Yeah, I would say like, I just keep seeing his card keeps coming out. I keep seeing it as being a little stuck in the rearview mirror, especially in the context of the Chariot. Like, let that shit go, Scorpio. I know that's a hard ask for Scorpio energy, not to hold on to that and not to just like sort of even unconsciously, like your skull just sort of gripping all the knives and holding on to it. It's like, let the bones of your skull, which by the way, like are sort of, they're movable. They're just very slightly movable. Like the way the bones of the skull all sort of like meet and join together. There is a little bit of attachment, but they're not like hard fused. There's a little bit of flexibility and movability there. And I'm just seeing this as like, let your mind release this stuff. And it might be hard because like, as your life starts moving forward, your like natural internal impulses, or your mind at least, might want to just like replay everything. You know, like replay and like process all of the stress that you just went through. And there might be a period where you kind of do need to do that. But I'm seeing this as like the best way to process this so that you don't just like re-traumatize yourself or like re-stress yourself out by like looping in your mind. Like looping in your mind is not necessarily the best way to process. Maybe the best way to do this processing and reflecting work for you, Scorpio, is not in a way that's gonna like the knife is pointed back at you. Like that's not gonna kind of like, again, like hurt you all over again. Just like rethinking it. I'm seeing that like the best way to process it would be to be in motion. Like everything shifting into Aries, you better believe we are getting moving, you know, like go for a run, clean your house, like keep your body in motion, and the mind will be able to process as you move forward. This is a processing in motion, not a processing in place. This is like, okay, yeah, sure, you can process everything that happened, but we're going to process as we go because we are going. That's cool. Yeah. 8 of Cups on the bottom of the deck. Like this process of letting go and releasing emotionally and moving on from that. It might be a bit of a process, you know, and there might be more like grieving to do, but the 8 of Cups is actively walking. It's not the person in the traditional tarot in the 5 of Cups that is just sort of like camped out, staring at the spilled cups, just like, you know, like heavy weighted sadness. It's not that. It is the person is leaving the cups on the beach and walking away. This is absolutely a moving on. Grieve as you go. Okay, let's go to the Poesis Oracle and get some final advice. Final words of advice for Scorpio as your life is finally moving. Things are finally moving forward. Some advice for Scorpio, please. What's the advice for Scorpio this spring? Okay. So there's been this boundary. You could be getting, again, like you could be kind of getting your own space back in some way. Again, with that like Mars energy out of your space, you might need to sort of like get that boundary back a little bit, like shore up the edges and get it like, okay, I'm back in my space and I'm good now that Mars has left. But I also see this as being in this space, being in this is part of the shape you're shifting out of, is sort of like hiding out in that boundaried space, and just like, therefore kind of like, almost like going out of body and going into the dream world. Because you're just trying to endure this period where you couldn't really move. So you might as well just like go into meditation and like travel in your dreams or travel in your mind. Okay, that's kind of funny. The other card that came out is unknown. So now like some of that is clearing out and you're getting this opportunity to move forward, and there's this opening. And of course, like you don't necessarily know what you're stepping into, which can feel scary and a little stressful. To open up that boundary and like step forward into more open, unknown space. Okay. That's too much. One more piece of advice for Scorpio. Okay, listen. Let's look at it together. So, this is the whole spread. Some sort of like boundaried, static dream space that you've been in for some time, Scorpio, has been necessary for you to move through some emotional process and like process some painful stuff. And you may have just been sort of like sitting in or sitting with something pretty painful for some time. And that may have necessitated some boundaries for you to kind of like go off on your own and like separate yourself from that chaos as much as you can. And in that solo personal space, a lot has come out of your imagination, of like fantasizing about how life could be different. And this spring, it seems like you're moving towards that like different life, towards a different vibe. And that process is a bit of a delicate balance. It's chaotic, it's messy, it's totally imperfect. But it is getting you back into your body again. It's getting you back into your own personal dreams, goals, wishes, ambitions for yourself. And like remembering how to support yourself and sustain yourself on your own again. And that process calls for some listening, like especially the more chaotic things start to get, the harder you need to listen, because I think that listen card is also giving you a clue that when things start getting really chaotic, it's okay to just like stop, pause, separate from the group for a minute and tune in. Because that's where the awakening comes. When things get precarious, which I'm sure they will this spring, given the astrology. And then we move into the Chariot, which is, okay, the momentum is forward. you are the process of moving forward and clearing out that old space is one of like releasing the stresses of the past, even as you are reflecting on them, but like not in a way where you're just like sitting back at where you were in the Strength card, just like sitting and thinking about it and like ruminating over it. No, we're processing as we go with the Chariot. Let the tension in your head start to release so that you can let go of the stress that you have held for some time, and clear out that space and reclaim your space with the 10 of Stones. Because you are moving on, your life is moving on, and yeah, you don't know everything unknown. You're facing this new chapter and you don't necessarily know where that Chariot is moving you. You just know that it's moving. And that's all you need to know at this time. Okay, Scorpio. Cool reading. I'm excited for things to start moving for you this spring, and I hope this reading was of service. If you need a personal reading to see how this is actually playing out in your life, you know where to find me. Otherwise, let me know how this is resonating for you at various points throughout the season as you watch and rewatch and do all that. And yeah, happy spring. Take care.